I see from your research that the majority of UK firms have 3 months cash in reserve or less. It strikes me there's a big difference between 3 months and a lot less than 3 months at this point. How precariously positioned do you think are your members in terms of their cash positions?
Well, indeed, good morning. The scale and speed of the economic contraction that we're seeing is being laid bare by some of these results. A fifth of all firms out there have less than a month's cash at their disposal, and the vast majority have less than 3 months. So it's hugely important now to get the support that's been promised by the UK government to the front line as quickly as possible. There have been some really big announcements from the UK government in recent weeks, but that support's got to get through if it's going to make a difference in time.
So how many bankruptcies do you see here, Adam? I mean, what's Great Britain looking at in terms of failed businesses because of this?
We're already seeing from the early results of this tracker that some 18% of businesses have closed their premises temporarily. Now, I'd hasten to add that those aren't permanent closures, but if you have nearly 1 in 5 firms closing their doors and in a difficult cash position, you can infer that there would be a pretty significant number of closures or business failures. That is why, again, we've got to get support through the UK banking system. Companies also have to be able to furlough their staff as quickly as possible, given that the government has put that option on the table as well. So now there have been lots of big announcements. What the government's got to focus on is delivery, because that will help us save hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of firms.
Is it a problem with businesses accessing the help that is available to them? So they can't get through on the phone lines, they are not getting responses from online tools. Is that the problem, Adam? Or is it that the rules are too restrictive and too many businesses fall outside the scope of the assistance?
Well, it's a mixture of both, actually. Delivery to the front line has been patchy via the banks, for example, via local authorities and via government itself. I have some sympathy for all three because they're being asked to do extraordinarily different things very quickly, but they've got to help get that support through to the front line. There are also some businesses that are falling between the cracks. So mid-cap firms, many of whom employ significant numbers of people, cannot all access some of the support that's been put on the table. They sort of fall between two different programs. And also small companies that have a single owner director are facing some difficulties as well. So there are some gaps that do need to be filled there too.
What is the answer, Adam, especially for, consumers, very small businesses, SMEs, when it comes to providing support for them that isn't too easy to game, that doesn't cause too much moral hazard?
Yes, no, and of course that's understood. I think the key here is ensuring that any application processes that exist for support are swift, they're efficient, they're clear, and they're easy to use. We wouldn't want to see a very small number of businesses looking to use government support for financial gain rather than for survival. But equally, we also need to get cash out the door as quickly as possible. Given some of the numbers that our tracker is showing here, the urgency of doing that is very, very real. Otherwise, we will see significant business failures in the weeks ahead.
I see from your survey that more than a quarter of firms that you surveyed were not due to use any of the schemes available in the next week. Should that be seen as sort of comforting? Are they waiting until they really need it, leaving it to others to take advantage of, or do they not qualify?
I think for the most part, it's those businesses that are able to remain open that are saying they're not going to be using the schemes in the near future. I don't preclude some of them having to do so in the weeks and months ahead because, of course, this is a fast-moving situation and there could be other bumps in the road that we have not yet seen as we head through the period of confinement and towards a recovery. But with 26% of firms saying, I'm not going to furlough anyone, that's an important reminder that there are still some companies that need to operate at full tilt and indeed are absolutely essential both to keeping the economy going and to making sure we have the capacity to fight the coronavirus outbreak.